Here continuing my read through of my book, Descendant Awakening. Sorry this stream started late. I got back from my part time really late. You're implementing a new system. I work at a bank as a part time teller, and they're implementing this new system and they were trying to fix the ATM all day, and I didn't end up leaving until 8 something, 8:20. So I just got back now. It's 8:42. So when we last left off, uh, it was revealed that Isaac is was friends with John Seismic at some point early in their lives, and I said Seismic has a long backstory, so we're gonna read all of that this time. I don't know exactly how long this goes, but uh, we're gonna read the origin. If the chapter ends at the end of his origin, we'll leave it there. But if there's like a little bit left after his origin, we'll stop after the little chunk after the origin. I don't remember completely how long. Um, Sorry, I'm out of it. I don't remember how long exactly this is, but sorry, I'm a little under the weather too. But here we go. At a rundown elementary school in downtown Haven, a principal sat at his desk across from an African American child by the name of John Thompson, who was wearing a baseball cap backwards. The principal leaned forward and spoke to John sternly. "How many times do I have to tell you to take the hat off?" the principal asked. "My hat is part of me," John said. "Take the hat off, John," the principal demanded, beginning to lose her patience. John, sensing this, removed his hat reluctantly. "You're this close to being kicked out of school. You're about to graduate. I don't think you want to be held back," the principal said with concern. "I'm sorry," John said. "People keep messing with me." "Why do they engage you in the first place? Are you saying things to provoke them?" "Provoke?" "Egg them on. Make them angry." "I don't think so." "Well, you can go to recess." "I don't want you back in my office again, understand?" the principal said, raising an eyebrow. "Yeah." As John stepped outside, he put his hat back on. Kids were running around playing tag. John looked around and then began to chase his friend. His friend, African American friend Isaac. It should be his African American friend Isaac, who had a lighter skin tone than John, and was wearing a hoodie. As they chased each other around, a bully stuck his foot out and tripped John. As John fell, he shot his hands out and hit the ground. "Tag, you're it," the bully said with a triumphant smile. John looked at his bloody scraped hands, then looked up at the bully and began to cry. But it was an uncontrollable, angry cry, and the ground began to shake, with cracks forming in it. Sharp, jagged rocks jutted from the cracks, and all John saw was orange as he continued to cry, unaware of what was happening to the ground. A hand reached out to John, though, and the orange filter disappeared from John's eyes as he saw the hand belonged to his best friend Isaac. He took his friend's hand. Then a break. Sorry. The bell rang. John and Isaac were now in high school. John now had chin stubble and still wore his cap backwards indoors. His backwards cap indoors. He also had cuts on his knuckles and a band-aid on his right cheek. 3 bullies approached John in the stairwell, crowding around him. So similar to Lux, there's like a parallel similar to Lux. Seismic also fought a lot growing up. So let's continue. "Yo, we heard you got the answers to the test," one said. "Hand them over," another said. "I don't have the answers," John said flatly. "Just do the questions from the study guide. Mr. Martin said that the test would be the exact same. Maybe you'd know if you pay attention." "We said hand them over." "Or what?" One of them swung at John, but he ducked and clocked the bully across his face. The other 2 grabbed his arms and slammed John up against the wall. The one John punched John in the stomach. and he was swinging again to hit him in the face, but Isaac grabbed his arm. The bully looked back at Isaac. Shit, fuck this. The three of them ran. Thanks, John said, dusting his clothes off. I is the weird nickname John gave to Isaac instead of even saying the actual nickname Isaac. He just says the first letter of his name, I. I always got your back, man, Isaac said as they entered the hallway and began to walk toward the cafeteria. So, about this test you know the answers to, Isaac began to say. Does no one look at the study guide? Besides, I only said I had the answers, John said. Imperium 4-2. I am reading a book I wrote. It's a superhero novel. There's a lot of parts before this. But yeah, it's a superhero novel I wrote that's releasing. It's available for pre-order, but it's releasing April 2nd. You'd love that. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. And walked towards the cafeteria. John said, you corny as hell. I don't even know how word got around. John opened the door to the cafeteria and held it open for Isaac. They both walked in at the same time. Well, you obviously must have said something out loud, Isaac said. Well, now that I think about it, I did tell Remy I would know the answers, John said with a smirk. Why'd you tell? You know he tells everybody's business, Isaac asked. Speaking of business, I'm thinking about going to Harvard just to study just that, John said. They got online for lunch. You mean applying? Nah, I've already been accepted to Harvard, Yale, and Columbia. I don't even think I should wait for the other four, John said. Other four? The other four Ivy Leagues. If you knew you wanted to go to Harvard, why'd you apply to the others? I just wanted to see if I can get in, John said. Did you draw the cover? Yeah, it's a temporary cover that I just use. It's available. You can buy it on Amazon or Kindle. You can't buy it on the Kindle app on iPhone. But the cover I designed is through Kindle's cover design. But yeah, I drew the silhouetted figure on the cover, but that's just a temporary cover. I'm trying to commission an artist for that. What university did you go into? I went to Drexel University and I studied screenwriting. I used to be an animation major, but I found out I'd rather tell the stories the animators were animating rather than do the actual animation. So, yeah, I just graduated last June. Was I just wanted to see if I can get in, John said. Cocky bastard. They reached the front of the line and Isaac showed the lunch lady his school ID. The lady handed him his free lunch. They looked around at the cafeteria full of students before they found an empty table and sat down. What up, Sean Black 33? Thanks for showing up to the stream. They looked around at the cafeteria full of students before they found an empty table and sat down. I think I just said that. Listen, I want you to come with me, I said. I want you to come with me, John said. Like I said, John refers to Isaac, his best friend, by the first letter of his name, so he gave a nickname to his nickname. At this point, I don't think I can, Isaac said sullenly. Nah, come on, don't say that. I'll help with your application. Is the superheroes in high school? Yeah, so this is an origin. My story goes into multiple origins of certain main characters. And right now they're currently in high school talking about college, but this hero, John, used to be best friends with somebody who's now associated with villains, Isaac. But right now, currently in this origin, in the past, they're both in high school. Where'd you get the idea from? I don't know. Actually, that's a good question. I've never been asked that. I always just tell everybody I've been drawing and creating characters since the 6th grade, and then started to take it more seriously last year. And so essentially the synopsis is there's a hero serum. Wait, I'd rather just read you the description. I've read it tons of times for people that watch this on YouTube, but I'll read it just for you, Imperium. Okay, description. So Descended, the series is called Descended. This first book is called Descended Awakening. Um, it's a superhero series that takes place in the Virtuous Universe. I call it the Virtuous Universe because I own a company name called Virtuous Comics, because it was originally supposed to be a comic, but I got tired of waiting around for an artist to just fall into my lap. So, um, the word I read that Amazon. Oh, you already know the description. My bad. My bad. Yeah. Yep. Probably should have guessed that. But I don't know where I got the idea. I don't know. I watch a lot of things dealing with superheroes, and I just thought, oh, this might be creative. I don't think I've seen this done yet. So I don't know. I have a lot of series. This is just one of the many. All of them dealing with like supernatural humans. Because I think humans are pretty boring. So remember when writing to make it meaningful? Yeah, yeah. Well, it was meaningful to me when I wrote it, but I'm hoping the writing can be meaningful to somebody who ever reads it or watches the videos. Um, but yeah, always keep that in mind. All right, rap. Try to do the same for that as I try to do the same for that as well. Yeah, of course. You always want to. I think with rap, it's important to try to send some sort of message and also make it catchy so people are repeating that message over and over. Um, that's cool. Um, what was that? Nah, come on. Sorry about the noise. Those are my parakeets. Nah, come on. Don't say that. I'll help you with your application. It's not that. It's just, even if I were to somehow be accepted, I wouldn't be able to afford it. My grades aren't good enough to earn a free ride, Isaac explained. Come on, bruh. How are you gonna know if you never try? John asked. Well, it can't hurt to try, right? Isaac said hopefully at first, but his face changed to one of concern for his own future. I'll probably just end up working somewhere instead, like the gym down the street from me. That's not the right attitude to have, John said. Eh, it is what it is, Isaac said. So how much are you paying? Oh, I got a free ride. Wouldn't expect anything less. A few months later, they both graduated, John being the valedictorian for his graduating class, of course. Over the summer, he spent as much time as possible with Isaac, knowing that he wouldn't have much opportunity when he reached college. They spent most of their time in an abandoned junkyard in downtown Haven. It was here John would hone his powers in secret with Isaac watching in awe at everything John was capable of. Not even his parents or siblings knew. The freak anomaly that happened when he was a child was written off as just that. There was no evidence that could prove that John was connected to the Rock Pikes. And as the kids grew up, it became a hazy, distant memory for kids, wondering if it ever really happened. Did I read? I don't remember reading the rocks jutting up from the ground. Did I read that? Hold on 1 second. Oh yeah, I did read that. What? I don't know what I'm thinking. Um, it really happened at all. This, obviously, was no freak accident. Not only could he control the earth he walked on, but the natural metals that were a part of the earth's makeup. So he would toss around the metal scraps in the junkyard for fun, or control a piece that Isaac would ride on like a hoverboard. Uh, the summer did not have to come to an end. The summer did have to come to an end, and now John stood outside the Harvard dorms with his mother, father, and Isaac, who stared in awe at the buildings in the surrounding area. Well, this campus is definitely bigger than I thought it would be. What do you think? He asked John. John smiled. Normally, you're supposed to visit the colleges you're interested in going to, bud. Psh, I knew that. John's father spoke up. You have no idea how proud we are, son. The first one in our family to go to college. Come on, let's head to your dorm room, Mrs. Thompson said, his mother. Vincent Thane, John's roommate with crew-cut, dirty blonde hair, penciled goatee, and a scarf tied around his neck, was in girl with his with was with a girl in his bed. John, his parents, and Isaac knocked before they entered the room. Vincent paused with what he was doing and looked back at the family. Oh shit, is it moving day already? He asked himself. Great first impression, Isaac said. Vincent and the girl sat up and placed their backs against the wall. Sorry about this, but do you mind if I finish? I was so close, Vincent asked. John's mother stepped forward. Excuse me, but sure, we'll be right back, John's father interrupted. Much appreciated, Vincent said as John's father closed the door. Out in the hallway, the family stood awkwardly as John's mother scowled at his father. What the hell was that? She whispered, shouted. Well, when a man is close, you gotta let him finish. I mean, are you crazy? That is, Mom, Dad, it's cool. I mean, this could be a good thing. I'm still struggling to get a first kiss, but maybe this guy will help me get there and further, John said. You mean... Isaac's voice trailed off, waiting for John to finish his sentence. I meant with girls. Just checking. We are going to talk about that when we get back. You cannot just... Mrs. Thompson began to say, but Vincent opened the door. He had his boxers on and the scarf still tied around his neck. Sorry about that. Shall we start again? He asked, then extended a hand. I'm Vincent. The family looked at Vincent's hand, then they all looked back at Vincent, who sensed their disgust, closing his hand and withdrawing it. Oh, right. Why don't you just come in, he said. I'm assuming you did that already, Isaac said. Vincent chuckled. You got me. They all entered the room as the girl got dressed. Vincent spun around to face the four of them. So, welcome to Harvard. And before you say anything, I know that's not the kind of welcome you were expecting, he said. Yeah, that's a first for me, John said. So, I'm Vincent. My friends call me Vince. I'm a junior and I'm studying business economics, Vincent said. He looked at John. You? Wait, you're a junior? They're allowing a junior to room with a freshman, Mr. Thompson asked. Oh, yeah, well, we're kind of full of students in all the dorms, so they're allowing that to happen, Vincent informed. Well, I'm John. This is my mom, pops, and best friend, Isaac. And I'm here to study business law, John said. Huh. So you want to be the one prosecuting the criminals? Better than the other way around, I guess, Vincent said. And what do you mean by that? Mr. Thompson questioned, stepping forward. Relax, John's mother said. No, Mom. Pops is right, John said. He turned around to face Vincent. What do you mean by that, Vince? Whoa, bud, Vince said, holding a finger up. I said my friends call me Vince. We just met, so we can't be friends already. John's parents looked at each other. I mean, we could become friends down the line. As a matter of fact, I can introduce you to some of my law friends and get you acquainted, Vince continued. They call you Vince, Isaac asked. Yeah, they do, Vincent said. You know what? I appreciate it, Vincent. I'm, looking forward to meeting some of your friends, John said. He turned around and his mother grabbed his face as she began to tear up. We're so proud of you, she said. I know, Mom. John's father picked him up and hugged him. Thanks, Pops. He dropped him, and it was Isaac's turn to say goodbye. Dude, it's been real, he said. You say that as though we're never going to see each other again, John said. It'll feel like a lifetime, bro. I'll visit soon, John said. I'll keep you to it. John's parents and Isaac left. Oh, that's sweet. That your brother? Vincent asked, shoving his hands into his pockets. Might as well be, John said. So he's really not. You gay, man? What? Homosexual. Because if you are, there are going to be way too many hot chicks for you at a rager we're going to tonight, Vincent says. Rager? You mean like a party? No, I gotta prep for classes that start next week and order books, John said. Can that be done tomorrow? It doesn't even sound like it's going to take that long. What does prepping for class even mean? Vincent asked. Yeah, I guess you're right. Man, in college, and the first day I'm already going to my first party, John said excitedly. Oh, come on, nerd. You're acting like this. You didn't party in high school or middle school. Vincent said, rolling his eyes. You partied in middle school? Fuck yeah, I did. You didn't? Yeah. Psh, totally forgot those counted. All the ragers I went to. They couldn't keep me out of all those parties, but, thanks for helping me out with this one, John said, obviously lying. You having a stroke? What? No, I'm just saying thanks. What's good, Isanet? Is it Isanet or Isanet? I don't want to pronounce it wrong, but what's up? Well, that's what I'm here for, Jim. It's John, but close. Really? You look more like a Jim. What? Come on, let's get some food. I'm starving, Vincent said, walking out of the room. In a dimly lit science lab office, Mr. Thane, having slick back hair and wearing a navy blue business suit, sat in a chair opposite of Dr. Daiichi. You look like Damon Wayans Jr. That's the first time I've gotten that. I don't know if that's a compliment, but thanks. I get Jaden Smith a lot. I don't know if you see that, but yeah. Mr. Thane, having slick back hair and wearing a navy blue business suit, sat in a chair opposite of Daiichi. Archillian Fatale stood behind the doctor's shoulders. You do look like him. Yeah. Yeah. What you reading, brother? I'm reading my superhero novel that's coming out April 2nd. We are more than halfway through the book at this point, but you're welcome to stay and listen to this origin story I'm going through right now. Yeah. Are the cyber guards really necessary, Mr. Thane asked. That's too intellectual for me. I couldn't write a book for shit. I kind of went to school for this though, so I guess that's how I did this. I was a screenwriting major, but yeah. I assure you they mean no harm. They follow me everywhere. Let's get to talking about your son Vincent, Mr. Thane, Dr. Daiichi said. Well, doctor, my son could be a good candidate for your serum, Thane said. My serum is already perfected. I'm not really looking for any more candidates right now, because I think it's ready to be released to the public, Daiichi said. Let's hold off on that, Thane suggested. You need to prove that it's worth holding off on, Mr. Thane. Right now, I could be more wealthy selling the serum to the brave souls that wish to test it if they are compatible, Dr. Daiichi explained. Is this like a picture thing or words? It's words. It was originally supposed to be a comic book, but I didn't have the money to pay an artist, and I also couldn't find an artist that I liked. So I just wrote out 7 books in a year. I'm willing to pay you to hold off on releasing the serum, and I'm willing to pay you to have my son try it if he's interested. Now, what do you mean by compatible, Thane asked. That's cool, yeah. Not everyone will be a perfect match for the serum. For most subjects, no result will be the same. One may have his physical appearance completely altered, while another could have his mind altered. For the better, of course, but not every subject will survive. So think about what you want to do very carefully, Mr. Thane. John and Vincent sat at a table across from each other in a crowded cafe. Vincent finished up telling John a story. And then my buddy knocks the third guy across the jaw. Then your boy, me, comes in to save the day with one of the baristas used the remote to turn up the sound on the TV. The cafe's thundering noises descended into a dull roar. A news report took place with the reporter on the scene. I'm here at the scene of the accident. Tom and the cameraman panned over to see Ardentia lifting the crane out of a ditch. Ardentia is super strong and can fly and stuff. The bystanders applauded the feat. Holy shit, what the hell is that? Vincent asked, as if John would know. I wish I could tell you, John said. The crowd of people in the cafe began to applaud. On the TV, Ardentia flew off before any media got can get to her for questions. So this connects to Ardentia's backstory when she finally saves someone without it ending in the unfortunate death of the victim. Um, so John saw her on the TV when her origin was taking place. I hope this is a joke. People actually think this is real, Vincent said. John looked down at his hands. Hey, I mean, they look pretty legit to me. I bet she thinks she's better than us, Vincent said. Well, better than me. I don't think so. She's got sort of an innocent hotness to her. And did you see that outfit? John asked, already beginning to speak like the bad influence sitting across from him. You developing feelings for this chick? Vincent asked. Like you'd have a shot now. This is like having a celebrity crush. How so? Gaining attraction to a celebrity you'll never meet. They don't even know you exist unless you're a celebrity yourself. If you're not, you're just another fan. Fans never date celebrities, Vincent said, as if he's actually speaking from his heart. I don't know, John said. I have a feeling I might have a shot with her. Nah, dude, Vincent denied. She's only gonna fuck with other superpowered dudes. She actually has superpowers. And if other superpowered dudes exist. There was a brief pause before anything was said. So when's this party again? John asked. It starts at 9, but we're going to show up fashionably late, Vincent informed. How late is that? 2 hours into the night. Christ, 2 hours? Listen, bro, we're going to be the life of the party, so if we're going to make everyone wait just for us, Vincent said cockily. How do you know they won't clear out before then, John asked. Because I already told them we're coming late, of course, Vincent replied. The two roommates were chilling at the house party as a break. Two roommates were chilling at the house party, but John stood apart from Vincent and his group of friends. He decided against being antisocial for the night and walked up to Vincent. You know, I didn't think you'd be right, John said. Vincent tried to speak, but all that comes out is a few moans and unintelligible words. How many of you had? John asked, concerned for his roomie. Vincent's friend spoke up. He's like 6 deep, bro, the friend told John. Already? We just got here, John said. See, what I tell you, total rager, right? Vincent managed to say it through slurred words. He's the only one that still says that. Fucking weirdo, another friend said. We just call them parties. Yeah, I think I'm gonna head back to the dorm, John said. What? Dude, we just got here, Vincent said, as if his tongue was thrown into a blender. I'm not doing a very good job of the drunk speech, but I'm also not actually drunk right now. So, Vincent says, as if his tongue was thrown into a blender before being poured back into his mouth. Yeah, John said, looking around. Not really my type of crowd, not my cup of tea. Forget tea, man, Vincent said, handing John a cup filled with beer. Here, drink some booze instead. I don't drink, John said flatly. Why the Vincent said before he hiccups. You know what? Forget it. You drink now, bish. We can't be seen together if you don't do what I tell you. All of my friends follow my commands. John looked at Vincent's friends, then back at the drunk college student. I'm good. You're making a mistake, Joe, Vincent said. It's John. Whatever, man. I thought you were different, Vincent said. Different how? I thought all people like you would just follow what guys like me tell you. You're out of your element, but you want to fit in, right? What are you talking about? John asked, becoming frustrated. You're a rare black guy amongst tons of white people, Vincent said. Tread lightly, Vincent. What are you gonna do? You gonna shoot me with your gun? Vincent said before turning to his friends. All black people carry guns, right? Vince, stop, John said. Only my friends call me Vince, Vincent said. You can call me Massa. Vince laughed before John clocked him in his face. Vincent's friends caught him before he hit the ground. You done fucked up now, homie, Vincent said, checking his own jaw. A large, burly man showed up and told them to take it outside. It was odd for a college house party to have a bouncer, but the owner of the house could afford one, so he paid for one. Rich people. For situations like this. When John, Vincent, and Vincent's friend stepped outside, John began to walk away from all of them. Hey, where are you going, pussy? One of Vincent's friends shouted. John stopped walking. Oh, that wasn't Vincent speaking. And I did the drunk thing, but that wasn't Vince. Yeah, you little bitch. We're not finished, Vincent added. That was Vincent. Y'all need to shut up, John warned. Bring it, boy, another friend of Vincent said. John stepped forward and they began the fight. John was holding his own against the drunk Vincent and his three friends at first, but one eventually caught John in the face, in the stomach before they shoved him to the ground. Vincent pushed his friends off a bloody John and grabbed John's shirt by the collar, slightly sitting him up. Vincent then repeatedly punched John in the face before John yelled out in pain, causing the earth to shake when he did. Vincent stopped. An earthquake? In Massachusetts? He asked. The ground beneath John lifted him and pushed him back to his feet, knocking Vincent off of him. Vincent fell on his back. His friends gathered around him, then ran at John to try to knock him down again. John hovered his hand over the ground, and platforms from the ground beneath each of the friends' feet sprang them up into the air and back onto the ground, knocking them out. Vincent got up and took a few steps back. John walked up to him and picked him up by his shirt collar, punching him in the ribs, breaking a few accidentally. At this point, John's super strength had began to develop, but he was unaware and curious as to why Vincent let out a piercing shout as John didn't hit him hard. He dropped Vincent and headed back to his dorm room. Then a break. There were empty bottles and an empty needle on a nightstand near Isaac's mother, who sat in a comfy chair, holding a picture of her, Isaac, and her late husband, who was Isaac's father. Isaiah! She shouted. Isaac sauntered into the living room wearing his hood on his head. Yes. What happened? I don't know what you mean. What happened to our family, son? His mother asked. Ma, you're drunk. Just go to bed, Isaac said before turning to leave the living room. You better stop your ass right there, boy, his mother said sternly. Isaac stopped but didn't turn around. It was all your fault. We were happy before you came into our lives. Mom, no, you ruined everything. Once your father got me pregnant in high school, our lives were over because of you, you bastard, his mother said. Mom, please, you shut your damn mouth. I'm sick of looking at your face, his mother shouted. There was a brief pause before Isaac said two words that led his life into a downward spiral. Fuck you. His mother screamed and stood up. Isaac ran into his room as his mother ran into the kitchen. Isaac sat in the corner of his room, balled up, his head in his knees. His mom came into the room with the kitchen knife in her hand and jutted up. He jutted up as his mother sliced at his arm, cutting him. He dodged a second attack before racing into his mother's room. Panicking, he looked at her nightstand drawer and pulled a revolver out of it. His mother entered the room, still fuming, and Isaac turned and aimed the gun at his mother. They were both crying. Mom, stop, please. You have no guts. You won't pull that trigger. Put the knife down. I am sick of looking at you. Enough. You will never be your father. Go ahead. Pull the trigger so I can be with him. A gunshot rang. His mother had a shocked look over her face as she fell to the ground dead. Isaac dropped the gun and got into a ball again, crying. John quickly sat up in bed and sighed. He held his head and sighed. He sighed twice, not wanting to look to the other side of the room to see Vincent. To his relief, Vincent wasn't there, but the relief turned into worry as to where his roommate could be. Vincent lay in a hospital with his father, Mr. Thane, standing next to him. Dad, I'm telling you, he did something normal humans don't do. It's like he was controlling the earth. He was using it to his advantage, Vincent explained. Are you remembering it correctly? You did almost get blackout drunk last night, Mr. Thane asked. No, there's no way I imagined this. My friends can vouch for me. I don't think they drank as much as I did, Vincent defended. Mr. Thane took a second before speaking. Well, son, I have a few connections and a few calls I can make to see what can be done about this. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I know a doctor that can help you with this non-human problem. What's his name? Dr. Daiichi, a Japanese doctor that graduated MIT at 15. Dad, spare me the backstory. How soon can I see this guy? Well, if I play my cards right. Today. Daiichi injected the serum in Vincent's arm while Vincent lay on the operating table. The doctor wheeled the subject on the table over to the chamber and pushed him in. Sure about this, son? Mr. Thane said, standing a good safe distance away from the chamber. Dad, Vincent said, if there's a chance I can gain non-human abilities before several other people in the world, I want to take that chance. Especially if it means if I can beat the shit out of Jeb. He called him Jeb because his name's John and he keeps not getting his short name right. Mr. Thane hesitantly nodded at Daiichi, and the doctor pushed several buttons and pulled several levers. Addison, Anthony, stay alert, he said to the cyborgs. We can't let this one break out like the others. Break out? Mr. Thane questioned to himself, but his thoughts were interrupted by the screams of his son. Vincent! Fine. Vincent managed to squeeze out before screaming again. No, he's not fine, Mr. Thane said, rushing over to Daiichi. Get him out of there. It's already done, Daiichi said as the machine ceased its whirring. The chamber door hissed as it opened with smoke and steam bellowing from it. Addison and artillery stepped in front of Daiichi as Vincent appeared from the smoke, taller, muscular, and slightly deformed. He's the first one in the story so far to not come out the chamber on his hands and knees. Deformed, meaning his hair out of place on his head, his face stretched across his now larger head. His clothes were torn in several places as they struggled to cling to Vincent's hairless skin. It worked, Vincent said excitedly, his voice distorted, as if he was constantly gurgling. Oh, God. Doctor, how long is he going to stay like that? Mr. Thane asked. Oh, Doctor, is he going to stay like that? Mr. Thane asked. It's possible, but there's also a possibility that he's only in the state because the procedure just ended. He might revert to his form in a little while, Daiichi explained. Well, keep him here until that happens, Mr. Thane said. If it doesn't, we'll figure something out. Daiichi watched as Thane left his only child in his care, then turned around to face Vincent and smiled, thinking about the tests he was about to conduct on his recent success. John got up and left with the rest of the students from a lecture hall where class was just held. He pulled out his cell phone and saw a random number. He answered. Hey, John, it's Isaac. Isaac, where are you? Wait, hey, John, it's Isaac. Isaac, where are you? Is everything okay? My mother's dead, John. That's... Wow, man, I'm sorry. How did she... I killed her. What? She was high and drinking. She was angry about my father being in jail, not being there for us. Isaac, she chased me with a knife, John. I had no choice. I picked up the gun and she kept it in her bedroom and shot her. Bro, don't you bro me, asshole. Where were you? College is... What were you doing that was so important? It's only been a day, Isaac. It only took a second for me to pull the trigger. Couldn't you have thought of another way to stop her? Would you be thinking rationally if you were being chased by with a goddamn knife? Bro, look, stop broing me, John. Would a bro let another bro not go to college with him? Wait, what are you saying? I'm saying you shouldn't have gone to that damn college in the first place. Now, I'm gonna stop you right there. You wanted me to stay behind? You wanted me to be dragged down with you? Dragged down? You want me to stay at your level? We've never been on the same level. What are you saying? Isaac, look where I am and look where you are. I made it. I got a free ride to the top college in the country. You think you're better than me? Oh, now you get it. I guess that's why you're not here. You can tend to be a little slow. I'm just as smart as you are. Look where I am, Isaac. You're probably on some prison phone right now. John, I called to see if we were still friends. I wanted to know I still had somebody in my corner. No, you called to berate me for not calling you. Here you go again using those big words. Berate is a 6-letter word, Isaac. It's 1 letter over the average. That's what I'm talking about. Shit like that isn't common knowledge. For you, maybe. But remember, I know a lot more than you. I gotta go. My call time is up. I have to get ready for my court hearing. Isaac hung up. John held the phone in his palm, staring at the screen. He noticed the screen began to crack and the phone itself bend ever so slightly. He frowned his hand and thought about the conversation he had with his best friend. This is on page 225. Oh my god. This is a lot longer than I thought it was. So, like I said, I'm tired. I think we're going to end it there. Just break up his origin into two parts. This was originally, I was writing this to be a movie, like, as a script. This is why his origin is, like, the longest out of all of them. He's also the leader, and I consider to be one of the more interesting of the seven, along with Ice Cap. But he's actually a very important character later on in the series. But we stopped at the friend argue conversation thing. With nobody in Isaiah's corner and John having, well, his family still. But I think we're gonna end it there for tonight. I'm really tired, but I will see you all tomorrow at 8 this time. Because I'm off tomorrow. So thank you for anybody that stopped by. I will, if there were any new files, I'll mention them in the next stream because I don't have any notifications up or anything. But thank you everybody for watching. Have a good night.